And, it's another episode of Who Woke the Savage. I'm your girl, mswellandwoke. And as always, I'm kicking it with my homie.
I'm Lady Elle Savage.
And we got some guests tonight, y'all. So, I got my financial guru with me, who's also a wealth strategist by the name of Elle Jones.
And with me tonight, I have Doc, a.k.a. Mr. 10K.
Hey, Mr. 10K. Money dance, y'all. Money dance. So, last episode, we had a conversation about who is a provider or what is a provider, if you say that, or in provider culture. So who's staying, praying, and paying when it comes to these relationships, right? Now, this week, we're trying to hit everybody with a whole different type of conversation, and it has to do with finances. So I got a great question for y'all, okay? What was your family's concept of money growing up? Like, how did you discuss money in your household?
I know for me, it was a very big thing. So it was more so big when it came to my mother. So with my mother, it was like I had bank accounts at a young age, saving dollars, doing this, moving money here. Money was a very big thing. With my father, it wasn't as so like that. But as we got older, he realized how, I wish I did move like that. But my mother was definitely big on the dollar. Definitely big on save your dollars, do this, you want to be able to retire, do this. Everything came to get it together on the financial.
That's a lesson from a black woman. We already know.
Yes.
Mama who was holding it down with that, making sure you had your coin stacked right.
As far as like a money conversation, growing up, it wasn't really had like as a kid really. Because I was outside so much, like, so me asking for money would be like, that would be the most I would talk about money, like wanting clothes and stuff. So I wouldn't never hear him talk about money, honestly, until unless I would go like with my grandparents, where it's like we had quarter books and like you save all the new quarters and just different ways to save money is what I learned that was now because them quarters is useless, but that was a good way to teach you how to save a couple of dollars real quick. But 50 states, 52 states, you save a quarter for each state. You actually save a couple of dollars as a kid. Like, you could really run with that. But so now looking back, like, that's a money saving thing, but it wasn't really something we talked about as a kid that I focused on.
I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. Them jars saved my life. I ain't even gonna hold you. I keep one of them quarter jars in the closet still. Like, I'm telling you, grandma and them ain't never lie. You gotta keep that on deck.
Definitely.
The penny jars. You see the penny jars.
Them penny wrappers.
The penny wrappers.
You get enough of them, walk down to the bank, you got a nice little bank.
Everybody on this call is old enough to remember when you used to wrap up the pennies and stuff.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, yeah, for me, really, it was my mom always saying that you should be able to put your hands on some money. And so her big thing was like money should be easily accessible. It should be liquid. And she was really big on that. And she always says like she was meant to be rich. So money was a big factor.
Yeah, I remember growing up, like my mom had did something I thought was very unique when I was a kid. She had bought these like silver spoons, right, and had them engraved and customized. And my first meal, I was fed with this silver spoon. And she was like, we may not have this right now, but I want you to always know that you have a taste of the good life. I want you to aspire to be able to have this silver spoon in your mouth. And I still have those spoons engraved. I still have them. She was like, whatever I can't give you right now, I still want you to grow up and go after in the future. And I feel like that mindset stuck with me. But I'm also going to keep it a buck with y'all. One of the hardest conversations around finance I always felt was bills. I grew up in a household that was constantly reminding me that the first thing you do as soon as you walk in the door is check the mail. And I don't know about y'all, but I got a little bit of mail anxiety when it comes to when I see the bill.
Not mail anxiety.
I would say that's probably why we ain't had really money conversation, because the bills was like, we living in the city. It was them bills. They wasn't really our concern. Like, I don't want to say it was so many. What's the best best way to put it. So many pharmaceutics outside that bills get, they got paid. And then when they didn't get paid, it's kind of like, the store not open or whatever the case may be. So it was like, as a kid, I never thought of it like that because money was always got to come in. And when it's coming, we're going to have fun with it. When it's gone, we just going to go back and get it and then have fun again. And so it was kind of like a terrible, I wouldn't say terrible, because it showed me exactly what people doing now, and it's easier to navigate through it because I've been saying this my whole life. We get some money, we mess it up, we went back to get more. It's just now, this world ain't really letting us do that.
When you think about the friends that you have in your life, like in the conversations around money, like I think one of the biggest things that people find as friends, like when you go out to eat with people, right? You learn that everybody has a different concept around how to pay the bill, if the bill gets split, who covers what. Like if you ordered the $10 salad, do you still got to pay for somebody $30 steak or whatever the case is? Like, I mean, when conversations around money come up like that, do you feel like it relates to your circle? Like, do you hang out with people who don't necessarily move the way you move, or not a problem?
I know for me, I feel like everybody has different friend groups, right? So you have friends that might be pocket wise, y'all on the same time, right? So like we know we can do the same things. And you might have some friends who are like, okay, we might not be the same pocket wise, but we can do some other stuff that's fun on a level that works for us right there. So that's what you have to do when you have those kind of friends. But you can't mix those friends up together. That's what it is. You can't put the friends that got a little bit of money and the same one with the friends that don't got, don't got no money. Because then what happens is we have a little problem. It's going, like you said, when we go to dinner, it's going to be a little riffraff when the stuff happens. So you just got to know how to separate and move accordingly. I know some people who like, hey, if these people don't make how much I make, we can't be friends. It's not a thing. It's not going to work.
That part. That part.
Well, I know, Elle, you had taught me something. You said when it makes up your inner circle, right? Like if you got a group of people, like what was that expression that she was saying again?
So it's pretty much like you are the summation of the 5 people that you hang around the most, right? So if everyone around you is kind of like broke, struggling, has that scarcity mindset, that is going to eventually rub off on you. So you really want to be around people who are thinking in a more abundant mindset.
Right, so that money mindset, that focus that says like, you know what, I feel like I had to change my attitude or have a more positive attitude about money, that what leaves you will return, right? Like a lot of people have this fear, we're all working people, we all go out and get it, we're all hustlers in our own right. So the idea that I can not only make money, but money will continue to come to me abundantly and continue to grow and manifest. And I feel like once you got that attitude and the people around you have that attitude, you sitting on dubs. You know what I'm saying? You making money.
That's still tough because when the people around you making money, I'm gonna say this for like my circle. When we go out, we so mixed up. I got friends that I know for sure they not tipping. It don't matter. It don't matter how good of a service you did. The tip is just why. Like so that's just not gonna. I got some people that's just on their order something be like it was 28, it was worth 20. So it's like when we go out, it's everybody doing their own bill because I guess it's a meal thing. Whatever you pay for, whatever you order, that's what you pay for. So keep it kind of simple. And I don't think none of us look at the other person like, hey, he order this or order that, because also one thing that we will do, like before we go here, you will let it be known, hey, bro, I ain't got it. I need you to. You want me to put it on my tab? You want the money now? Like how you want to do that? So I want to say at least with my group, we keep that. It's already known how this is gonna go right here, right now.
You know what though? He brought up a good point. Because I feel like in the women group, I feel like sometimes we don't know you ain't got it till you ain't got it.
That's all I was gonna say. I was like, I appreciate that the brothers are having this conversation before they sit at the table. Because
you ain't coming at the table second Saturday because you like you ain't got your money. Like, excuse me, man. You said you had it. Like, so I feel like that's a difference too. I feel like also as when we do the split the bill thing, men be like, no, I pay 20, you pay 30, I pay 40, here you go, here's the bill. Like, I feel like as when we tend to be like, okay, we can split, we can do this. So I feel like that's another thing too. But I do appreciate that y'all let people know up front, because yeah, that's a tip that a lot of people do not tell you until the check comes.
No, that's fine. You can't come back out if you do. It's like,
you ain't invited to the more dinners. That's how I'm looking at it. If I don't know, we got about one time to get me with that one, and you can't come out to eat.
That's your Thanksgiving.
There is no more.
I'm gonna make sure I ask though. Yeah, we about to hit such and such. You trying to go? Like, you got money though, right? Because I ain't paying for you. Like, make it straight obvious. We didn't even get in there when we playing the same game we played last time.
I think that also comes up for things not just like dinner, but also when it's time to travel, or even when it's time to go to events or invest. Like, for anybody who's a business owner, you have the friends who want to be included, but the friends who don't want to patronize. They want everything for free. And I think that ties into a mindset too. Because the way I look at it is that any of my friends who are fostering an opportunity for themselves, if I'm putting money in your pocket, by way of us being in the same circle, money is coming back into my pocket. We're growing together. That's how I look at it. That's like, if you're popular to other cultures, that's how the dollar circles.
I think that leads to something else, though, to the fact that it depends, though, like what you're trying to do. Is you trying to, in this business, is you just trying to make money, or is you trying to lead something? Because this is the dilemma I got right now. Like, I wanna get an office to trade stocks in, but I don't want to just, honestly, I don't want to go by myself. I want my friends to come with me. The dilemma is $2,000 a month. Do I know we're going to make the money? Yes. Do I know that they're going to put the money back in to pay the rent? I'm skeptical. I don't know. I don't, especially if we get hit with a bad month or something like, it's like, I don't know. But up front, it's like, all right, but this way the dilemma comes in, do I want to make money or do I want to lead my people? And I'm really torn between, because I want to lead them and I really don't care about the price. But if times get hard, I don't want it all to stop because I was the only one going in. Whereas if it's all about the money, I just do it myself. But since I want to lead them, I'm really thinking about, let me just go ahead and do this so I could teach them. And at least we have another 7 people that's making money. So,
and it's
split decision to make.
That's interesting, because the way I think about it is like, if we're all coming to the table and everybody wants to eat, then everybody has to like put something up, right? So I always think about like that little red hen story that you learn from a child. Like, everyone's asking, like, she's asking everyone, hey, can you help me make the bread? And everyone's like, no, I'm too busy. She's like, could you help me like get the wheat? Could you help me like kind of like smash it down? Could you help me bake it? Everybody's like, nah. And then the bread is made and everybody's like, oh yeah, that smells good. Let me get a piece of it. And it's like, well, no, where were you at when we were, making needed all the ingredients for the bread? So it's like, you got to bring something to the table. And it's like, if they're going to profit and make money off of like learning from you, then they should also contribute something. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just whatever they can give, right?
And, because everybody has something to offer. And I always say, like, money is not the only contribution in a business format, right? So I feel like if you don't have the money to put up, are you going to be doing the research? Any of the labor that goes into setting up the business, right? Running the tech, getting something done and established that aids and supports us making this money. Looking up the spaces that we can utilize, right, to grow. I don't care if you're the friend who's out there passing out the flyers to support the business. You got to put in some legwork, because when it's time to break bread, when it's time to cut the check, everybody is looking to get a little piece. Even if, like I said, no matter what their contribution was, being that I've done projects with large numbers of my friends and small groups of my friends. And, it was one thing that we had to decide. There's always going to be a CEO, a CFO, and a CMO in some capacity. We can all share equal parts and stake in this company, but everybody had an assigned thing that they were good at. So if you had marketing. If you manage the money, manage the money. You know what I'm saying? If you run in the executive office, if you got operations going in the background, I need everybody to play their part. And I'm good. I don't care who gets to eat, as long as we all play our part.
But I know, and we know, as much as you love your friends, as much as you would love to bring them with you and have them be a part of the plan, Everybody is not going to be able to be a part of the plan. It's not going to happen that way, and that's how it is. But like some friends, hey, I gotta do this, and it doesn't make me love you no less. But I gotta do this for me because this is what I see for the future. You have a plan, you have emotion, you have something that you want to do, and you see a bigger picture. Everybody's not going to see your picture.
I believe that wholeheartedly, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't force people. You like I said, you could teach a man to fish, right? But at the same time, if you give it to him, then he's going to become reliant on that concept. So it's better to teach so people learn how to go after it on their own. And I very much had that mindset, which is like I want everybody to eat with me. Like I can't even imagine my friends not moving in the same circle that I'm moving. But then I started to realize you got to want that for yourself. If I want it for you, it's not going to do you any justice. That's something that you got to resonate. It's like the light switch got to go on and say, hey, this is a great idea. This is something that we doubt. This is going to be something. And if they don't see that vision that's charted the way that it's set up in your mind, it's hard to get people on the same trajectory.
Exactly. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. There you go.
So what would y'all say in terms of financial blunders, like maybe your teen years, in the 20s and all of that stuff? What were some mistakes that you wish that you could have rewrote financially?
Oh, baby. I know for me personally, and I feel like this happens to a lot of people, you run into money really early sometimes, right? Whether it be a car accident, somebody passes, you get a little check, whatever, you run into this big lump sum of money early. But because financially, some people haven't been taught certain steps or anything like that, you mess around and you pay that money up. You run through that money. Money that could have been invested, put to the side, don't touch it, leave it alone, different things of that nature. And I feel like sometimes I wish financial was taught to our community way earlier than it is. A lot of us are learning about financial now because we done fucked it up.
Yeah.
Because we done messed it up. And so now we're up here trying to fix everything that we done fucked up.
You know, I'll agree with you on that 110%. When I was like in the 4th grade, I had this Caucasian teacher, and she taught us the stock market, right? Like she had us sitting down thinking like little young black and brown children sitting in the classroom, and she was just like, what do you guys want to buy stock in? Toys R Us? Like all of that good stuff. And she got us hit. And that was the first and last time that conversation was had with me as a young person.
Had one.
Right? And then, you know, I get older and I had to invest in the classes that I wanted to take. I had to go and say, I want to consciously take business and finance. I want to consciously take these courses because I want to learn more. But by that time, I had already made financial blunders in my younger years. So, like, if that was solidified from the time that I was, like, in the 4th grade, I probably would have owned Toys R Us. It would have never closed, y'all.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I feel like this should be something that should be taught when you're, this should be like a high school, middle, like, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. A financial class. Then we have English, math, financial.
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense for us, but they don't make sense like for the system. That don't make no type of sense for the system.
And that's why they don't do it.
But I want to say like the same as you, like you said, it was in elementary school. It was in high school for me. And the crazy part about it, this was 9th grade year, and I was in Lake Clifton. I consider that really like a low school. But the teacher to be really telling me like about stocks. We had a stock market game and all that. And I'm like, well, you know, it's cool. It's somewhere in my blessing was somewhere to save money. Same way I say it now. When I ran into money after that, the stock market was on my mind, but not in my mind. Like I even told my finance, I mean, whatever the person that Morgan is that give you your classes, I told him like, yeah, my counselor, I'm like, I want to take my refund check and put it in stocks. He's like, I never heard nobody say that. But at the same time, I'm young, we get a refund check, summer, a car is needed. In the city, you buy a car, fixing it is needed. The tags, all the stocks went straight out of my mind. But now I'm looking at things. When I look at a stock, I just look at it, all right, how can I get this to run up probably $3? I make a little $300, and just leave my money sitting in cash and just make money any way like you can like that. So it's not, now it's not hard, it's an easy saving mechanism. Like right now, one thing I'm really doing every $1,400, I'm just buying 100 shares of Wendy. they're gonna give you a quarter every 3 months. You get 100 shares. That's $25 every 3 months. So like, you don't do nothing but go higher and higher in dividends. But you need to go.
It's true, because when you monitor the stock market, you learn what's worth your investment. You learn how to buy and trade appropriately and pay attention to the trends. I feel like I've gotten more into the stock market in the last couple of years and really just finding other ways to build my financial portfolio, because that's something that I guess I wasn't 100% hip to. We always heard, like you said, about retirement, right? Like everybody knows, like you can get a pension this way, you can have some money saved that way. But learning how to diversify through having stocks is really, really necessary. I feel like it gives you a little bit more financial awareness and security, right? When it comes to money. Something that, like, similar to you, that an educator has said to me, like, she was like, when you get your refund check, buy a house. She's like, take your money and invest and buy property. And we all know, like, longevity is in the dirt, right? And at first I was like, wait, what you mean, miss? She's like, I wish when I was your age, all of those refund checks were used to make a major financial purchase that could have set me up. I could have flipped that house. You know what I'm saying? I could have rented out that house. She was like, that's what y'all need to be taking y'all money in. The first thing we do is, we like, I got to live off of it. And I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. In addition to that, like, it's like burning money in your pocket. It's like burning a hole in your pocket. So we make a lot of choices with our refund checks that really could have made major decisions for us down the road.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So definitely thinking about like blunders early on would be like the whole, I know everyone's talking about like student loans, and that's just been like a big thing for a lot of people. So that would be one of the first blunders. But definitely feeling like I've worked really hard and been really intentional about improving like personal financing, getting to know things like about like net worth. And then recently I just became like an angel investor for the first time. So I've actually invested in a new water brand that's going to be like on shelves this summer in stores. So like just learning the most I can, just, you know, reading as much as I can about like financial literacy, following people like Dave Ramsey, as controversial as he is, and just like really honing in like my money mindset has made the difference. So even though I didn't like start strong, making sure that as I get up in age, that I'm ending pretty strong.
Because
what was the first mistake you ever made?
The first mistake I would say would be like the student loans.
Okay.
Like just taking out money for grad school. So I had a full ride scholarship for undergrad, but taking out money for grad school.
Okay.
Who are you telling? I'm still gritting my teeth. You know, I look at this. I always type of.
They don't forget it. Don't think they forgot about you.
I'm always going to invest in myself. Like if I got to shoot on something, putting a bet on me is always going to be an option, because I know that whatever I put out into this world, I'm gonna make sure that I get it back times tenfold.
Yes.
So when trusting in that, knows that I know that money will come, does come, and will continue to come to me after those investments. But like I said, there was like, you know, along the way, some things that I could have done a lot differently. And through education now, I realize like I got to move a different way. If I want to be an 80-year-old person who's living a good life, because that's what it comes down to. You got a lot of our older folks who made a lot of financial blunders, never turned it around, and there's some struggle out there.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like turning it around, regardless of what age you are. You know, we can all say we didn't grow up with like financial literacy, but now in like this year of 2025, if you are over the age of 21, it is like your duty to make sure you get that knowledge and information. Definitely.
Yeah. But wait, another thing, when you were saying like the pensions, that's another, the pension, for me, when I had a job, I never even thought about it, because I never knew what it was, and I wasn't about to sit here and listen to somebody. This might sound cocky, but I don't even think it's smarter than me that's giving me a job to tell me how to save some money. So I could be, in 20 years, I could be sitting with you, like, that didn't make sense to me. You telling me put this aside, so in 20 years I could still be here. That it never made sense, but as I grew, I learned that you could take that pension, well, you could direct your pension. I wanted to be invested here, I wanted to be invested there. It's kind of like a free stock account in a sense.
Yeah, that's something I really do. I feel like when people talked about pensions in the past and they were saying like, hey, yeah, you keep working, do 30, 40, 50 years in this company and eventually you can retire and here's the slice of the pie that's coming to you. Not really giving you all the information about what you can do with your money and for retirement and how you can split it up, like you said, and invest it and make it work for you. In addition to it, I had to learn even that about like life insurance. Like I learned really, really, really dope things about life insurance that people didn't realize. Because a lot of the time, you invest your money in certain insurance policies, and some people largely feel like it's a waste of time. How do I know if I'm ever going to use this or whatever's going to become of this? And I learned from so many people, they were like, when people borrow against things like their life insurance, they typically take that money and they invest it into other business entities because they know that they can always get another policy or reinvest into a new thing. And I was like, and the first time I heard it was sitting down at like a corporate meeting, and this white guy was just like, get a high life insurance policy. He said, not because just planning for the afterlife, but that money can be used to your benefit as a safety net, just in case of an emergency. And I never looked at it that way because we always thinking about the after picture. And then I guess the biggest thing about pensions and retirement that's setting for me is that seeing so many people on social media these days, crowdfunding, GoFunding, when there's a loss of a loved one because nobody invested in having a savings plan, a savings account, a pension, retirement plans, anything. You know what I'm saying? Life insurance. They didn't make those steps to ensure that there was something left behind. They said like a brother died, he leave a bill. And it was one of those things. I don't know if y'all remember that from Chris Rock. Like he had gave it to us, and that's
Now here comes GoFundMe account.
No, it really be like that. Especially, I won't say over these last 5 years, I'm saying 2 years, and they're not cheap. Like, they're not cheap at all. So when you look at that insurance, it's definitely an iffy game because not a lot of people want to give us insurance. Let alone life insurance. They might try to give us a term, and with the terms, you can't really borrow from them as much, or once again, you're not going to really let us borrow from. So it's hard really getting in that door, but it's definitely a big market right there. You just go ahead, you get about five life insurance policies, 100,000 each, and you probably take the money from 3 of them, leave the other 2 for in case you really do pass. It's definitely a way to make some money without being taxed on it because it's loans, but it's hard for us to get into it. So what I've been noticing is that it's like nowadays, since they pulled the curtain back on a lot of the secrets of how to save money and how to make your money meet money, they don't really work no more. Or they work is just at such a small amount. Most of us is not taking them.
so you
That's
feel like the cat is out of the bag. Like everybody now knows a lot of the financial like tricks and trades.
I feel
That it's
like us. I feel like they worry about us.
Yeah.
They worry about us knowing the truth to the truth.
Yeah, like now that a lot of
Because this isn't new.
Yeah, it's not new. It's now that we know and that we try to take advantage of it. Is we don't really know. It's like a lot of people. I'm not gonna say you'll say it, but if you look at the people insurance policies, even the ones that they send you in the mail all the time, they have probably burial insurance, or they're never reaching out with a lifetime or like a life insurance, maybe a 10-year term, which is kind of like a gamble. Like I don't think I'm dying in 10 years, like, but it's wild. It's hard for us to just get a whole lifetime, and I'm really saying they're gonna give us all the work that's not beneficial financially that we could borrow from.
I think something that I learned is that, as history moves forward, like one thing that is a given truth, as we get more information, as we learn more about money, that's when the goalpost keeps moving, right? That's when things become more like out of range for us. And I feel like we have to continue to fight. Like the national, I guess, average of how much a person should make as a single individual is $112,000 a year, right? Financially, that's what everybody should aspire to as an individual, just to make it at bare minimum, just to make it, right? And I could consider things that we grow up learning about, like Black Wall Street, right? The minute Black people were like, you know what, screw this, we got our own, we can build and cultivate, we can circle the dollar, and we can make good on our own. Somebody was like, they doing too good over here. Burn that down, get rid of that. They're going to have to start all over. And continuously, I feel like us as a people, we've had to consistently start over,
Always.
which can also create some like stress and drain when it comes to finances.
It's not even that. Starting over is one thing. I think everybody can start over and like really make it. But how you said that, what, 121,000? That's probably for a married couple or like a white couple. But I could tell you, on Texas, the average is probably 35,000 a year. That's the average that people need. So
You think they need 112 to survive, like to survive and to be honored.
and they only making 36. You know, like they only making 36 probably with 2 kids, and now they're not making nothing in a sense. You take a standard deduction of 22,000 on somebody that made 36,000. Technically, they made 14,000. That's $1,000 and what 12,500 a month is what they need. And you can't live off that. It's kind of, I'm not gonna say kind of, literally impossible to live off that. And so it's like it's so hard to really even get ahead. Like first we need to get better jobs, or we just need to own our community so that we can break these prices down. Because some of these rent, like I said, 36,000 is the average that we make. And of course now we got a lot of people like in the hospitals, they're getting at 55 to 60. But even when you look at what 2,500 a month for rent, that's about 30 to 40% of their income, not including the BG&E. They gotta pay for food because they making 60,000. They can't get food stamps. It's really no money there. So when we don't own the community and somebody else dictates how much we gotta pay to live in it, it's gonna be so hard to get here because it's kind of like anything. Oh damn! I took 100 from them. They still got 50. I'm gonna go take another 10. And you gonna keep eating more and more and more because it's a lot of.
It's true. It's like a lot of people are sitting in the red as a result of that, right? Like, as much as you think that your money is supposed to work for you, like after taxes, after those deductions, like you're like literally under the poverty line. And that's not what you expect being somebody who probably commits over 40 and 80 hours to the average work week. And it's crazy that so many people are having that experience. I know one thing, like, Elle, you had told me basically about like people who own businesses and why it's worth an investment in having an LLC, right? And how having an LLC allows you to kind of financially move things around in a way that doesn't hit you as hard as some of the taxes that we face just going to work every day.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially if you have like an LLC, and this is not any type of like business or legal or tax advice, but if you have an LLC and you can do some like S corp kind of designation, but there are ways for you to pretty much benefit from being a business owner. So there are, as if you know anything, like if you ever read like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the whole concept of like an employee being taxed more than a business owner, or like, you know, their money is taxed up front, whereas the business is taxed on the back end. So that's where some like different breaks come in. But yeah, it's been beneficial for me, especially for someone who, like, my business is like my tax break. It has been truly beneficial for me.
I think,
and another thing of that is when you own a business compared to a person that's just working somewhere, let's say a W-2 employee, they're not eligible for almost any write-offs really because like why in a sense we're giving you money. It's kind of like how the government look at it. I'm gonna look out for the person that created this job that's taking some pressure off of me. That's who's taking the pressure off me. You going to work for them ain't taking no pressure off me. So however much money you make, I need my cut on that. But I am going to look out for the person that's putting the money in your pocket. So I almost advise everybody to get an LLC, even if you just going to get an LLC that's your name, so you can write it. You get an LLC that's your name and direct deposit your check there, and now you got a business that's making money, and just write your life off through that because it's really hard. I'm not saying write your whole life, but write off necessity things like gas and meals and things that you really do use to get to work, but you can't get a tax write-off because you're a W-2 employee. It's not the best of life, but it's something. It's way better than just keep you working 90 hours at the end of the evening. All that money is just going to taxes. Now, once we go and file your taxes, you looking like, how do I owe? I don't even make no money. No, you don't make that much, but you do overtime every month, and that money is going straight to taxes. It's just higher in your income saying that you owe us more.
And that it's crazy that people could put in all of this extra time, right? And like literally, you're working not to make you more money, but to make somebody else, the company, more money, and they gonna get their money from you. So as much labor, I feel like we pay with our time, and a lot of people got to realize that. You know, I have a firm believer: work smarter, not harder. Like my goal in life, like we talked about, like what would be something that you would have wanted, is to retire early. Who wouldn't want to retire early? Who wouldn't want to make money in their sleep, right? Who wants to be out here crunching and beating the pavement all of the time? Like I have a very, very strong work ethic. At the same time, if I can sit here and close my eyes and count my dollars and not even worry about it, they say you can have everything set to auto pay. If everything can be put on auto pay,
I had to
and I don't miss it when it leaves, man.
I would say that the biggest way to get to that is like a lot of us we trade our time for money, whereas we need to start trading our money for money. So if you could just look at, of course, we almost all got to start off trading our time for money, but trade that time, get you enough amount of money that you can go ahead and, you know what, I'm gonna take this 10,000 when I send this out. They better come back with some money, babies. It should be at least 10. That should be at least 15,000. I'm sending 10 out, like so. And that's the only difference. And as long as you want to keep trading your time for money, you just ain't gonna be doing nothing but looking for the highest paying job. And what's the most I can make with the least amount of work? The most you can make with the least amount of work is just sending your money out to work.
They allow for people in cheap seats because look at you.
But it's a little louder for the folks in the back.
But this is the time right now that y'all might not be used to, but it is savage question time.
Savage question time.
And the savage question is, how many times have people let society standards of success dictate the financial goals?
That's a good question.
I'm gonna hit y'all with this automatically. If y'all are familiar with a concept called peacocking, right? I feel like in order for Black people to assimilate in American culture, right, especially after being in bondage, the idea that in effort for me to feel like a sense of value, I had to purchase and buy and own all of these different things. Even if I didn't have it necessarily to purchase and buy, I wanted to look like money. I wanted everybody to smell money on me because having money or having the illusion of money gives me access. Even people like, I say, Kim Kardashian had came out before and said this. She was like, I didn't have none of what I had before. She's like, granted, y'all knew what my father was, right? She was like, she worked for Brandy Norwood. Everybody know who Brandy is, but she had worked for Brandy Norwood, and she was like, I was helping her as her personal assistant. I was stealing some of her clothes and some of her looks, and then I would get dressed up in some of her most expensive things. Go out into the industry and front like this was my stuff so that I can make connections and make a point. So I feel like, honestly, a lot of people go out into the world and they stunt like they have stuff, and they don't really have nothing to show for it. But there's some people that they fake it till they make it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the flip side on that because I'm not saying if I'm a business owner. Like when I go out and I sell my colognes and perfumes, I just spray cologne for people, and once I told them the price, they was like, "Oh no, I can't take it." But you fell in love with it, no, but the price don't match your budget, and it don't match your image. So what I was saying, that happens so much because some people won't even try things if it's not a certain name, if it's not a certain amount, because it just don't match with their class or this imaginary room that they put themselves in. So that's a tough one because it happens every day in almost every fashion of life, from business to the way people move outside. Like it's really hard. People let the whole world dictate them, and it's because a lot of us lost and we ain't got no real guidance. So we let what we really like and see guide us, and from there we don't really know what we want, so we just following who we think is the leader. Then once you become the leader, you start doing what you want, and people start following you, and it becomes kind of disrespectful.
How do you feel?
Yeah, also, yeah. So I feel like right now, if you're on, like into TikTok and watching all those like videos about people like ranting about certain things, I feel like a lot of millennials, but really Gen Z, is redefining what they believe like wealth or success is. So I'm hearing like a lot of the younger, like Gen Z say, like, you know, I don't want to own a house. That's not realistic for me. That's not how I'm going to build my wealth. So it's interesting that people are kind of like taking it amongst themselves to like redefine the American dream and say, hey, you know, past generations, this is how they viewed success. This is how they wanted to build wealth, but that's not how I'm going to do it. That's not accessible to me. So now they're trying to, I guess, navigate and find their own way and path to success. So it's really interesting because, like I said, in the past we've had these symbols of like luxury, and now we're hearing about like China saying that, like, you know, Hermes is not really Hermes and Louis Vuitton is fake. So like all those little markers of success that we once had, like people are moving away from that, and I think it's really interesting.
Another thing is, I think like how you said the American dream. I think a lot of people don't watch their parents grow up and be like, the American dream not real. And I watch them face it their whole life, get to end up basically with that house with the picket fence that nobody likes. We miss the old house in the hood or whatever. So I'm starting to see a lot of people get going to what they like, and more so get that this worked for me, and this is what I'm comfortable with, and more so it's definitely tough because it's still a whole, I want to say 70% of people just looking for somebody to tell them what to do. But that 30% real strong right now that's just telling people to be yourself. And that's when, once that finally take over to that 70, once they learn that to be yourself rather than hear, I'm going to be myself but still copy the next person, once everybody start being themselves, we'll start moving into a whole different type of world. These brands and things won't mean nothing there.
I do feel like it's definitely a lot with our culture, though. Like, I hate to say that other cultures can walk out and not care what they wear, what they have on, what they did. And with us, it's kind of like we dictate that. And I feel like that's something within us too. We dictate that. We say we have to look this way, spend $200 on a pair of jeans. It's a lot of times we let that financial pull bear on us because we need to be what society says we have to be all the time. Where other cultures, they don't care about that.
I mean, you have billionaires who say that they could be wearing flip-flops and sitting next to you on a park bench reading the newspaper, and you would never notice them. Unfortunately, in our community, if somebody's sitting next to you on a park bench and they a billionaire, it's monogrammed on the shoes, like down to the pen, to the clip on their person. Like, and it's unfortunate that it's done that way, but it's like I kind of understand the mindset behind it because a lot of people feel like you're going from the bottom to the top. It's new money. Mm-hmm. Whereas there are generations of people who go like, oh, I come from old money. That's not as prevalent as a concept. Now, we have it in our community. I don't want to say that our culture doesn't have access to old money. We do. But I think more often we see a lot of people now getting new money. And new money doesn't always know how to show it, express it, put it away, and how to stay hidden. And I feel like that is to our downfall. And I feel like with a lot of what we see going on now, as soon as people get money, they are on TikTok. They are on social media, letting everybody know they got money.
Showing you the new stuff they got, everything else. So yeah, I feel like that's definitely something we're like, we have to quiet down a little bit. We got to quiet down a little bit. It's not needed. We have to quiet down just a tad. It's not that needed. Because if not, we're going to be sitting up here spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that we don't need to even spend.
I think it's deeper than the money thing. I think it's more like a mental thing, like a hurt thing. Like people so hurt and broken, they want to express like the littlest thing, like, oh, look at my shirt, or oh, look at this, or I can afford this. If I can afford this, you know I can be. And most of the time it's an illusion, but it's just so many broken people. Because we can heal the people, then it will be way closer to everybody thinking for themselves and being themselves. But first we got to heal them. It's just a lot of hurt, broken people, and they don't want you to see something, so they put something so much. They put a chain so big in front of you that you can't really see the little broken person that's behind it, or they wear it. It's a lot of different things to use.
Because I mean, poverty is a mindset, and I feel like a lot of people, like I said, when they get access to something that they never seen, that they never touched. I mean, we all can be guilty of that. Like you get your first taste of something, and you want to continue to experience it, even if it costs a lot of money. And a lot of people fall into that category. And, you know, something I watched on the Breakfast Club, there was the artist Tyrese. He had came out and said y'all believe that I have on $10,000 chains because of who I am, the status that you believe is associated with me. But in actuality, I bought this chain on Amazon. So you gonna go out here and spend your whole life chasing a $10,000 chain, going into the store trying to wear this, and I know that I just get to be on TV in front of you telling you that I have it.
Was it? I think Ocho Cinco who said the same thing. Like all his jewelry was fake. Like none of his jewelry was real.
They bought it.
Yeah. It's just that simple.
With a different confidence level.
It's true. It is just a status symbol. That's really what it comes down to.
But I will say this. I appreciate you two so much for coming in, taking your time out to sit with us. It has been a blast. Love y'all most. I'm going to let Ms. Whowokethesavage go ahead and tag us out.
Word is bond. So we appreciate you guys for joining us. All right. Like K-Doc, the Taxman, like I said, Elle Jones, the Wealth Strategist. You guys have been awesome. And I hope that the people who are watching enjoyed this conversation and got a little bit more hip to some financial literacy and learning about their money mindset and how to break out of that poverty mindset as well, folks. I'm your girl, mswellandwoke. And as always, I'm kicking it with my homie, Lady A Savage. This is Who Woke the Savage on Thursdays at 8:30. We are always kicking in with y'all and give y'all some new information, trying to elevate the culture. You can find this episode on YouTube. All right, this weekend, we usually stream everything on YouTube. So please go check out Lady A Savage YouTube, Miss Well and Woke YouTube page. Follow us across our social media platforms on TikTok, as well as Instagram and Facebook. And as always, Royals and Savagistas, we love y'all for free.
Let's go together. Y'all know the deal. All right. I guess we out, y'all.
Bye.